What's up? This is Kofi Outlaw. How you doing, Comic Book Nation? We're coming to you live from Comic-Con 2019, and we're here with two of the, I dare say, iconic stars of the Dragon Ball franchise, Mr. Sean Schemmel, Miss Monaco Real. How are you guys doing?
I'm good.
Great.
I'm good. It's actually Schemmel, and also
Schemmel,
that's
so
okay.
sorry.
No, it's okay. And is your last name really Outlaw? Like
Yeah,
your
I didn't
parents?
invent that for like an
You did
industry
not invent
name.
that. Your last name.
That's really my
Your last name.
Yeah.
So does
Like-
that get you in trouble when you're like you sign something at the bank or you sign something?
Funny enough, it's very good in bars, very bad for like traffic stops. Yeah, that's about how it kind of plays.
Do you
out.
just go? I can't help it. It's my last name, officer.
Well, they always like think because it's my last name, they're like, so, do you think you're an outlaw? Is always the question
Is that
I get.
what you think, punk?
And I'm like, and it's always kind of like split. It's like if I answer the question and I'm very submissive, like, no, sir, that's just very bad. Like, I got to kind of live up to
I'm
it. So I just
jealous.
shrug now.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
Yeah, I like that last name a lot. That's awesome.
So talking about me, let's talk about you
Sorry.
guys, because that's what people are actually here for. We're here to talk about a lot of things Dragon Ball. I mean, this is like the year for Dragon Ball. We're here celebrating the 30th anniversary of Dragon Ball Z. But, you know, in addition to that, you guys just took a moment, an aside, to just break a world record yesterday with the largest Kamehameha ever.
Well, I didn't know if we were breaking or establishing.
Establishing?
Because I didn't know if it had been done. They didn't inform me if we were breaking some other person and group of people who had done a Kamehameha.
I just imagine there has to be some kind of competitive mass Kamehameha.
Well, I've already seen it
groups.
online. Yeah, somebody's going to break the record, I'm sure, at some point. But then I'm going to have to do it again.
just break it
Keep
again
breaking
and
again.
break
Just
it
like
again.
Dragon Ball just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You
So
know.
my first question, Sean, for you, who has had to deliver some of the most epic Kamehamehas that like really touch and inspire fans over many years, how was it to get like that energy back from the crowd, from hundreds of people for once?
Well, it was really weird because I didn't, you know, I'm used to doing stuff in public, but once we got everybody charged up and we were synchronous, it was a pretty, on the camera it doesn't sound quite as loud as it did when we were there because we had some sound issues, but being in the middle of it all was really like, you could really feel the energy of the crowd, and I was like really surprised. I was almost teared up a little bit. I was like, whoa, this is like a big thing. Like I you know, and then my agent texted me, she goes, "You're trending on Twitter." I'm like, what does that mean? And which is weird because I used to build computers. I grew up in the tech era. I just don't give a shit about social media because it's so loaded with so many other things I don't like about social media, as we all don't. So I didn't pay attention to like what trending means. Like I don't know if trending means 1 million people saw it or 5 million people saw it or 2 people, a lot. So my agent sending me stuff, my girlfriend sending me stuff like, "You're trending." I'm like, "Is that good?" And like, "Yes." I'm like, "Wow." So I guess that's a big deal. I didn't know.
How are you guys taking it in this year? Let's start with Monica. I mean, just from the 30th anniversary of Dragon Ball Z to see how the franchise in anime as a genre is just exploding. I mean, just its presence at this con this year alone. You guys have been in the industry kind of grinding out for this particular genre for so many decades.
Right.
How are you guys enjoying it this year to finally kind of see this mainstream breakthrough?
It's so awesome and yet so overwhelming, you know, because when we started, it's like we're just little voice actors. We go into a closet, nobody knows who we are. Like the anonymity is great, and all of a sudden that anonymity is kind of gone.
Oh man, yeah.
I get recognized a lot.
Yes,
a lot.
Well, his hair especially.
Well, the hair. Well, yeah, I think it might be the hair and the glasses. I don't know, but it's a lot.
Yeah, and I've noticed that even though I change my hair like every 2 weeks, I've noticed I've started to get more people in public like, "Hey," or people go, "Bulma!"
Yeah.
Hi, at the grocery store. This is awkward. But at the same time, it is really rewarding because we've spent so much of our lives in anime and working on anime and telling people how awesome anime is, only to finally years later have people listen and go, "Oh, you know what?"
So it's kind of a dumb moment. It's like, "Oh yeah, welcome to the club. We were anime when anime wasn't cool."
We're like the hipsters.
Back when people were still calling it Japanimation.
Stuff like that.
Days.
Yeah,
that's where I jumped in.
This is my 20th anniversary on the show, so it's it's auspicious for myself because it's 30th and the 20th, and when I look at it going, "Oh my God, if there's another 20th anniversary, I'll be 70 by then." So, and Masuko Nazawa was 82, so I got to keep up with her, and she's still kicking ass. So I feel a little competition from Japan.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I just think about how you guys just growing up, the original Dragon Ball Z came on, it changed my life, and so did Curse of the Blood Rubies, that movie that I got on a little tape when I was a little kid and didn't even get the end of, but was like so obsessed with. And to see this all grow and just see like now the success of something like Dragon Ball Super Broly and coming award, like even in the US, holding down the domestic box office and ranking in the top 5 is pretty incredible. What do you guys, if I can just pick your brain over your time, now that we're celebrating 30 years, let's talk about some of the moments that you look back now and have changed for you from doing Dragon Ball Z, maybe have changed to become your favorite moments that you didn't necessarily have before.
Wow. You know, I will say that it's been really, really fun that the more popular it gets and the more visible it is, the more people. It used to be back in the day that, you know, you'd say, I'm working on this show, and you'd have to explain the premise and everything. Now it's to a point where I can say, well, I'm Bulma in Dragon Ball, and it doesn't matter who it is. They're like, oh, Dragon Ball!
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And that is a weird new sensation that has only happened, I'd say, probably in like the last 7 years or so, that people are, it's that identifiable. And to me, that's one of my favorite moments, is that I don't have to explain to everybody what it is anymore.
Because explaining the plot of Dragon Ball in a very short period of time is very difficult.
I try to do it for a living, and it takes more than 200 words or a tweet. For sure.
The plot of Dragon Ball.
Right now, we're kind of in this pause for the franchise, and a lot of fans are just hungry for what's coming next.
The show's coming back. No, I'm kidding. It's not.
Run that headline.
That's not. I have no idea, actually. They never tell me anything because I'll do that.
Well, we're the last to know for that.
This is all hypothetical. This isn't. We're not trying to get spoilers. This is all hypothetical. We talk a lot, you know, internally in the office about how big the franchise is growing and whether it's becoming so big, whether it can kind of expand out into things like more spin-offs and character spin-offs for each characters. And my question is, do you think that's something that's feasible for this particular franchise, or do you think you need, like, could you have a Goku franchise and a Vegeta series kind of running, or do you think you need them all together collectively?
Well, I mean, I can answer that kind of tangentially, because we have these discussions as well. And I think it's part of the focus and goal of the people who make Dragon Ball. They want it to be a worldwide dominating brand, and I think in order to be a worldwide dominating brand with a world creation, you have to have a very large universe, a very rich universe with a lot of characters and a lot of story, and Dragon Ball has all those elements. So I'm surprised there's not Dragon Ball theme parks everywhere. There's not, and there's more to come. I mean, I think there will be like something like that in the future. I'm only speculating, but like I'm thinking of things not just show-wise, but just like, you know, they have a Harry Potter world. Why can't we have a Dragon Ball world? Like, there's enough there for us to do that. Why aren't we doing geocaching Dragon Ball hunts or something? That would be fun, you know, or whatever. But as far as new spin-offs and stuff, Chris was talking about how he wanted that manga about Yamcha, that where he gets resurrected and he knows what's going to happen in Dragon Ball. And it's all told Dragon Ball from Yamcha's perspective. I'd love to see that in an anime. You could have.
I know Jocko's got his own.
Yeah, Jocko's got his own arc. And Bulma could definitely have her own show, her own talk show with a glass of wine.
Awesome.
Every time I text Chris, it translates Goku and Vegeta as G-O space C-O-O and the Vegeta. And so I want to make a cop show called Goku and Vegeta. And it's just it's like not actually Goku, it's like a parody, but it's like, you know, and it's the Vegeta, and the Vegeta's like, you know, it's kind of like Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte in 48 Hours, kind of, you know? And so, like a cop show like that, I would like to see a spin-off buddy cop show with Goku and Vegeta.
Funny enough, the manga's kind of like setting the stage for that not to be something impossible. You guys following? Do you follow the manga? Do you follow the current like Moro arc?
I try to stay. I have a weird issue with language. I don't trust translations. So
good policy.
Viz does a great job, and that's how we'd get the manga. But then I'm thinking, but is this what it really means? And what if I took it to a different translation? And then I get married to it. And then when we have our translation and I get uncomfortable in the recording sessions. So I'm waiting for it to all be done. So I don't read ahead. I stay in the dark on purpose. Also because Goku doesn't know ahead. So I want to keep it fresh. If I already know what's coming, it might affect my performance. So I try to keep stay in. I don't even know what happens at the end of Super. I stay current with the episode I'm working on purpose.
I think a lot of us choose not to read the manga for those reasons. Like you don't want to get attached to something that's in the manga that might not show up in the anime, or you don't want to foreshadow. Like, because if we know what's coming, then even though we don't mean to, sometimes in our reads and in our scenes together, we might accidentally put some subtext in there, and so it's sometimes better to just find out when the character finds out.
Yeah. So we don't go ahead.
Yeah.
Do you guys, translations, I mean, the Dragon Ball fans are really critical of translations.
They are, yeah.
Have you guys ever had to stand in the booth and take like a hard stand on a translation or a line?
I do a lot, because especially because back in the early days of Funimation, they were really heavily adapting the scripts for American audiences, and then when we got to Kai, they were like, let's just do this pure Japanese, and then that's when I really fell in love with the show, and I'm like, oh, it's pure. now I understand the power of it. And so when I steward this character and play the character right, and with all due respect to all the fans out there, and I love them all, I'm only concerned about making one person happy, and that's Akira Toriyama Sensei. So if he came out and said, Sean, you suck at it, well then I'm like, I gotta change it. But he's like, you're great at it, but he's never gonna say that. But I lost my train of thought. Sorry, I do that a lot. Sorry, Bulma.
It's okay, I'm used to it.
Yeah, sorry. What was I talking about? I was getting to a point. We were talking about that. What was I talking
Translations,
about?
translations.
So on Kai and on Super, especially when you know a character, and I'm only allowed to do this because my producer allows it. Otherwise, he would countermand me. But I'll see a line that looks out of character or not canonical because the adapter has added some flavor or meaning to it that to me is inconsistent with the set of rules I have for playing Goku, which are based on as pure Japanese as possible, and so I will take a hard stance. There was one I'll do it like 1 or 2 lines an episode where it'll look like something Goku's being very egoic or like very Vegeta-like, and I'm like, no, he's pure of heart. He doesn't go, we're going to show them who's number one. Like there was a scene where they had written that in, he's talking to Goten. I'm like, because he had his finger up, and I looked at the original translation, he doesn't say that at all. And I'm like, he would not go, we're going to go pwn these guys just because we can, because he's not like that, you know. So I will take a hard stance on that, and I'm allowed to do that. I mean, if my producer was like, no, you got to do it, then I have to. But my producer is very supportive of me trying to play this character as purely as possible.
And I think that's true. Like because we've all worked together for such a long time, we have a really good working relationship. Yeah. So we're allowed to voice like, hey, because I know like for me, a lot of times, you know, the adapters are male and they're all wonderful.
I can always tell when men. I mean, I can always tell.
You can tell when a man is writing for a lady, and so sometimes they'll be like, hey, can we take that and maybe say this instead, because that's how a lady would approach it. So it's really great that everybody that works on the show is able to work together. So it's more of a team effort than just one person sitting at the helm going, you do this and you do that, which is a really unique and cool experience.
Yeah, we're allowed. The fact that we're, you know, Justin Cook is our guy who kind of makes these decisions, and he's also Raditz on the show, and he's a really, really good supporter of artists and supporter of art instead of just like being counter, get it done, you know, which some producers can be like that. But we're lucky that, you know, we have a guy who's an artist himself and an actor himself, and that makes our working environment really, really satisfying, I think. Would you agree, Mike?
I agree.
And just to wrap up, after a year like this, what are you guys excited for in the upcoming near future?
Well, Kakarot's coming out early 2020, which is you can play in Kakarot. It's an RPG. You can play the entire Dragon Ball Z Saga all the way through the Buu Saga from beginning to end. Is an RPG. So there's a playable demo down at the Dragon Ball World right now.
Oh, cool.
And we don't know what we're excited about. We don't know what's coming out, but I know that there was Japan had teased 2 to 3 years from now, perhaps another movie. I don't know, but that's you know, strong internet rumor is all I've got for you.
There's an energy. There's like a buzz in the air, and like we feel it, and it's tangible, and we're like, okay.
We do know
we're excited.
I know that they want to do more. I do know that. I do know that they're not going to go, well, we're done with Dragon Ball, close up shop. I can't even see that happening before I'm dead. So I'm excited for whatever they throw at me. You know, they call me, I'll put on the orange suit or the kicks or whatever we're gonna do. So,
all right. Well, thank you guys very much for coming by, and enjoy your con, and just relish for all the hard work and 30th years of Dragon Ball Z.
Thank you so much, Mr. Outlaw.
Thank you. That'll do it for this interview. Well, we have much more for you from comicbook.com at Comic-Con. Be sure to tune in. I'm Kofi Outlaw.